what I wished I had understood earlier. It's definitely such driving transformation. It's not just about having the right strategy. That's important too, but it's also about aligning with people and the time and trust, what I mentioned earlier. So we have such a complex world, complex and global organization, especially in procurement and supply chain. And the biggest barriers are not to transform in a technical way. It's about also human. So that means we need to take our people, our teams, the whole human with us on the journey. And it's all about understanding the emotion, political and cultural dimension to that.
For joining another edition of the never-ending climb for a stronger supply chain and procurement. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Karin, and Karin is absolutely passionate about procurement and global sourcing, and she loves using AI to help enable business growth through procurement. Karin, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Sean, for having me. Really a pleasure to be part of this webcast and sharing my experience with you.
Amazing. I think everybody has seen a shift through their career when people, maybe people call it the parents' generation, they were still dealing with a lot of paper. Yeah. And anyone in our sort of generation probably started their career. Everyone had a computer, but not everything was on that yet. And today we're still trying to figure out AI and what that means. But there's all of these shifts, and it takes leaders to make those happen. What are the biggest shifts that you've driven or that you've made happen around the strategy and how that works?
So what I can tell you, one of the most impactful shifts I have led in the past was transforming procurement's role in new product introduction. So turning it from a back office cost controller into a strategic engine of innovation, value, and for sure of growth. So traditionally, procurement only came late after product designs were finalized and suppliers needed to be sourced. So by then, the chance of to shape cost or risk or sustainability was almost gone. So I challenged that. So we reshaped the entire MPI process by embedding procurement right at the front during concept and design stages. So this meant procurement became a true partner to R&D, but also engineering, finance, and product management. So shaping decisions on design to cost, material, but also suppliers, and even sustainable targets from day one. So what made it work? It's more cross-functional trust as well. And
you know what I think is amazing is that tension, and we were talking a little bit about this before, of the engineers, maybe engineers in Germany have from time to time been accused of over-engineering things, but they're seeking perfection in the product, right? And then in the process. And procurement is often seeking cost optimization, but these two are not necessarily the same. At the end of the day, though, it is, as you said, it's all in service of the customer. How did you overcome that?
It's, as I mentioned, it's cross-functional trust. So that means working close together, and to show engineering and R&D that procurement also could speed up, not to slow down the process, and to bring supplier insight and commercial data only or early on the stage, and to avoid those last changes. So that means to create the sensitivity in engineering, in R&D, but also supply, and bringing both together.
I think that
this is underlined by data and support by AI-powered tools.
I love it. I love it. The idea that the parts that go into the products can be just a little bit of discussion and some trust and some shared conversation, some alignment can save something in the orderhood of 20-30% easily on that part, and that compounds so quickly. I love that focus on procurement and this sense of a belief, because sometimes procurement teams get trapped in this belief that it's all about cost savings. And there is a little bit more to it than that, because that is one part of the company's objective. It's not the entire company's objective. What other examples of beliefs would you want to encourage procurement and supply chain leaders to really consider? Is it helping you, or what do you need to let go? What would replace it?
I'm really glad that you bring up this question because, my point of view, outdated belief is that procurement's main role is to reduce cost. So this belief is still surprisingly in the mindset of many organizations, while cost management will always matter, but it's longer defines best in class. So there's really more out to that. And what should it be replaced with? Procurement is a strategic business enabler. Bonds that drive innovation, but also growth and risk resilience and long-term value creation. And as you already mentioned, it's all about the customer, and there we procurement can enable the business growth.
I love that. You know, this enablement topic, when we think about NPI, we think about some of those parts of procurement that are really tricky. AI is on everybody's lips. What are you seeing help make a difference for you in your work and your teams?
You mean AI in particular, or
Yeah,
yeah?
it's AI in general, not just the hype, but what's really
Yeah.
changing with it?
Changing. So, yeah, in my experience, AI driven procurement tools have already shown a tangible impact, especially in supply risk management, but also should cost modeling and contract intelligence. But let me give you a few examples also to show you that AI is already a part of procurement. And out of my experience, I would like to share two examples with you. And one is about supply risk management. And I had the pleasure to implement supply risk management tool already before COVID. It was around about 4 or 5 years ago. And what is supply risk management? It's AI can access and to predict supplier risk by analyzing external factors like news reports, but also geopolitical risk, etc. And one of my key takeaways and lessons learned from this first example is it's not only about risk identification. The buyers get a lot of different alerts, but our teams also need to know how to handle the alerts. So that means they need to know what comes next, talking about risk mitigation. And we as a leader, we as a team need to set up a governance handbook and a risk manage process that our team getting guiding through. And the other example, what I would love to share with you is about process optimization. So that means AI take over or took over procurement tasks like invoice matching or like setting up purchase order approvals. And our team were able to improve the process by more than 20% efficiency. And also one of my key takeaway and lessons learned was that you need to have a clear roadmap in place, and also besides that, to measure that, to have the KPI to track the progress, but also to make the success visible. And it's so important that our C-suite understand what is the benefit from the AI, and the best to do that to make our success visible. And it's, yeah, through KPIs.
What gets measured gets managed. I think
Yes,
it's
that's
so true for so long.
yes.
We touched on beliefs and we touched on some things that are changing, some trends, but it takes execution. It takes movement, and the people who sit back and wait usually don't win. It's the people that actually take the initiative and take action. What do you think that your team moved on, that you executed on, that other people would have hesitated with?
Yeah. So one bold move we made as a team, and I really need to underline as a team, was taking full ownership of procurement function immediately after a complex cross-regional merger. So it was a time when most would have focused only on stabilization, not transforming. So instead of waiting for things to settle, we choose to lead from the front. So within a few weeks, we launched a full procurement transformation, including an early implementation of AI-driven process optimization. So that means we streamlined a legacy procurement process across the region, but also introduced schedule agreements to improve supply chain predictable and implemented automation to reduce manual work loads and enhance the data. So this was really, I was so proud about the team, and the lessons learned, or the lesson was, bold move in procurement don't come from perfect timing, as you already mentioned. They come from really confident leadership, a clear vision, and the courage to act before others are ready. So,
I think that's really the key thing is nobody's ever really ready, are they?
yes. No, there's never a perfect timing. You just need to have this clear vision, to communicate this clearly to your team, take your team with you, and then move forward.
And it's 100% right. There's so many companies that after a merger, after a large acquisition, they don't really change things. They stabilize based on one company bought the other company, and now they're going to stabilize on the acquiring company's policies and processes and systems. But if you're able to go take opportunities like that and make a big change, that must have taken a lot of soft skills to go and work with other teams because they won't remember that you wanted to do a KPI improvement. They'll remember how they felt through the journey.
Exactly.
How
Yeah.
did you help them through that journey?
I help them through it. There a lot of different things. So first is really to trust and to be a great procurement leadership. It's, as I mentioned already, it's being bold, visionary, and to have this business in mind, but also to enable the team. That means a clear communication, but also beside this clear communication, you need to have as an ambassador in your team that you take them through, that they communicate your vision to the level below and help you in the transformation process. And besides that, it's also important that you have this alignment, a front alignment with your different stakeholders, but so important have the alignment and yes, the support from the C-suite, that they really are champion you, that they support, and yeah, then you are ready to go.
That's brilliant. The idea of making a bold move like that and making a big change like that in the midst of all of the rest of the change already
Yeah.
going on, it really talks about seizing the day. You know, that really epitomizes to me that really highlights that leadership of go set the example and be the change that you want to see in the world. And when you think about what procurement looks like today, how is that evolving? And can you tell us a little bit more about that change that you want to see in the world?
What I would like to, that's a good question. What I would like to see, that's I would appreciate if the teams are and the leaders much more open-minded. And I just can refer this to my experience to the GCC region, to have this vision, to be this visionary mindset, and to be bold and brave to introduce, to implement that, and also to transfer the vision from top to down, and to be a true leader and to be a role model and to have this innovation mindset and this positive, and also to have the future in the mind. And
It's so encouraging because often when we're younger, we have these ideas of what we want to do when we grow up. and the things that we want to see happen. I know there's a lot of young professionals that are just entering procurement. Some of them are wondering how I ended up in procurement.
Yeah.
Because maybe it wasn't exactly what they went to school for, but here they are. Or some of them really studied supply chain and they really wanted to get into it. But there's a whole lot of young leaders, emerging leaders that I know tune in and watch. What advice would you have for yourself or for others that are early in their career to help them start developing, building those leadership skills to be the change that they want to see?
So good question, but I would change that a bit. If I reflect or if I would have known things earlier, what I wished I had understood earlier, it's definitely that driving transformation, it's not just about having the right strategy. That's important too, but it's also about aligning with people and the time and trust, what I mentioned earlier. So we have such a complex world, complex and global organization, especially in procurement and supply chain. And the biggest barriers are not to transform in a technical way. It's about also human. So that means we need to take our people, our teams, the whole human with us on the journey. And it's all about understanding the emotion, political and cultural dimension to that end.
I think that's something that there's some folks that are just starting to enter the workforce who had finished maybe high school through COVID. And I think we're finding that some of those folks that are just coming in maybe need an extra hand from some of the more experienced leaders who had, we'll just say, an uninterrupted education period. What other advice would you have maybe for leaders in helping those next generations or help to coach those next generations to bring just a little bit of extra empathy, a little extra heart, to remember that maybe some things that you or I maybe learned through school or through experience, some of them missed some of those chances. What would you invite them to consider?
So first, my advice would be really to be a role model, because the younger generation, but I would say everybody, looks up to the leader and they just copy paste usually the behavior. So that means if you want to be the change, you need to live the change, be the role model. And to give you an example, and what I experienced with the younger generation, especially from COVID, it's sometimes so difficult for them to make a phone call or to make meetings, etc. It's for us so easy, we are grow up with that, but for them it's a big barrier. So that means if I'm talking about being a role model, that you invite them, that you talk directly, that you have this open door policy that they have the possibility just step into your office, but other way around. So talking with each other, I think it could be a good, perfect step.
Yeah, I think that keeping that open line of communication and showing them what good looks like, just setting the example, it's timeless advice.
Yeah, it
Karin,
helps. So usually it helps.
yeah,
Sometimes it's
absolutely.
stays.
I think maybe the right word is genau.
Yeah, German, we are as known for that, to be precise. Well, no, genau, sorry, I'm sorry. Just because we have two different meanings for genau. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you again, Karin, for taking the time
Thanks.
today to join us to share your wisdom and your experience. And thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been another edition of the Never Ending Climb for a Stronger Supply Chain and Procurement. We'll see you next week.
Was a pleasure, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Vielen Dank.
Bye.